date.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome. This is Jane Celia Hatch from Explore the Unknown, and I am a former reporter, writer, and researcher. And I am here today, which is Friday. Is it the 26th today? Friday the 26th or 27th? Let me see. It is the 27th of March. So, welcome everyone. This is our second interview. We're both excited and nervous, and we've got a lot of information that we both put together. Pamela is going to take it away for the first part of the interview. She's going to recap the first interview, which was the David Icke Files #1. This is Pamela Leigh Richards, and she is the former wife of the famous David Icke, who's sort of the lead man on the conspiracy theory route. A lot of us didn't think it was conspiracy, and it isn't a lot of it. So we're going to just go through her relationship with him because she is coming forward with her whole story about David Icke. She's going to recap the past interview I did with her and then add more information and more photos. And then she's going to go into the 10 days or 2 weeks her and David Icke spent with the famous Arizona Wilder, famous for the mother goddess interview that David Icke did with her. And then I'm going to come in around an hour from now, 45 minutes, and talk about Arizona Wilder and the research that Emma Catherine of the Imagination podcast shared with me about Arizona Wilder. And I'm also going to share some information from Jeanette Archer, and it all ties into David Icke. So welcome, Pamela.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. It
You're
is a
more than
pleasure.
welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
And
So
the
anyway, why
audience,
don't
I
you
hope, how are you, audience? I've got a great sense of humor. I'm sorry. I kind of
Oh,
sidetracked.
that's good. No, we need it. We need it because, like, when you're going through really heavy stuff, it's you got to have a sense of humor. So I think that's what gets you through life when you've lived the lives that we have. So, you can go ahead and take it away and do your update and sort of just recapping the last interview and adding more information. So, and I will be here and I will comment if you like. Otherwise, take it away.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking, take it
You
away.
can say, feel free to say them
That
again.
is so funny.
Really?
Yeah, I was serious. I was going, take it away in my head. And that I thought that was amazing. Mind to mind. Okay. Um, all right. So for the audience, thank you very much, Jane.
You're welcome.
So
Thank you for being here again.
So I'll begin with saying this trauma, and I'm going to try not to cry. Whew.
I understand, believe me, we all do.
And David used to say I cry too much. Um, so trauma is something most humans have endured at some point in their lives. And when I read any derogatory comments, it has a long twang of pain in my heart because the commenter has not walked in the shoes of the guest. So I would ask that everyone be kind and considerate.
Yes.
This is not a place for bashing, belittling, or condemning.
Thank you.
Now,
Yes. Yes. I agree.
you're welcome. The abuse that happened to me wore me down physically and psychologically to the point where I did not know what to think and almost stopped recognizing myself. And I refused to submit to the traumatizing, belittling language. If I don't get out of here, I'm going to die. I had to replenish my strength within, spiritually, soulfully, psychologically, emotionally, and physically. And these are some things that I wrote. Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. Sometimes the student can outteach the teacher. We have perfected politeness to a fault. That was from Terence McKenna, I think. It was a good one. We have perfected politeness to a fault. I definitely agree with that one. It has taken me 66 years to this year to speak what I could not say before. I turned 66 on January 3rd. Um, Falling down is not a failure. Failure comes when you stay where you have fallen. This is a step in the right direction of giving myself permission, permission to be, permission to speak. And when I do it, it gives everyone else permission to speak too. So I'd
Mhm.
like to pose this question, or answer this question that some people have asked me. Why am I coming out and telling my side of the story? Well, the reason I'm coming out is because David went public with what should have been private. David opened the doors of our private home by going public. So when that happened, I rose to the occasion. I opened the doors to our home wide open, and I said, with open arms, and said, "Welcome." He thinks he can do this without consequences. I'm doing what I know to be right, and I won't go quietly. I'm doing this to understand why. I'm doing this to heal. And after presenting my experience with David Icke, in all honesty, in fact, and evidence, it might help someone else feel a little less alone. So, why was he so brutal? He intentionally tried to hurt me, the belittling words. He dragged me through hell for 2.5 years in the divorce while healing from a TBI. I'll have all the evidence popping up here, guys, to back up what I'm saying here. I just want to finish this. So he thought my whole life with David, he thought I was a programmed person from the get-go. I lived with David with a question mark over my head the whole time. Yet he took me to those dark places that were shared in episode in the first interview with Jane. He took me to those dark places, but why would you take, if he thought I was a programmed person, why would he do that? I asked him why once as we walked into this place, and I don't remember when it even started. I think it was in 2000 maybe. And I remember I couldn't understand it because I didn't want to do it. And I asked him, why do we go to these places? And he said, we are there to bring light into them. And the other thing in this whole relationship, it was 15 years from beginning to end. We met in August of 1997 in Jamaica. And it's interesting because it was the week that Princess Diana died. And when I got home from Jamaica, she had died on August 31st. And our divorce in 2012 was final on August 31st of 2012.
Mhm.
I found that interesting. And he
Very
would always send
interesting.
me away, and send me away and come back. And he would basically toss me back and come back. And I've got all the evidence of that. The details, the big show I must share with the audience is I've been working with a gentleman by the name of Dorian Dubumasan. I did my first episode with him. We're doing a hidden series with him. And then I met Jane, of course, recently. Within a week after meeting her, we did our first interview. But it's different. I'm focused on the survivor area here with you all, and but it all ties in to everything. So I'm just going to give you guys a brief and as much chronology as I can but we're going to focus on the abuse. And so he would send me away and bring me back so many times. I actually tried to take my life while on the Isle of Wight in our home. I don't remember what year that was, but in the mid, I don't know, probably, I don't know, um, 2003, maybe something around that time. Um, and I walked into our kitchen, and I don't know why, but uh, anyone who is suicidal will understand. Uh, I walked into the kitchen, tiny little kitchen, put a pillow at the bottom of the door, put a pillow on the floor. No one was there, and turned the gas on. And interestingly, David happened to come home, and of course he smelled the gas, And he stormed into the kitchen and just yelling, 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 and not, oh my God, honey, why would you do this? It was just, I was a problem again. And he shut the gas. Well, of course I could have blown the building up. But when you're that down, you don't think, so can you imagine? I must have been pretty out of it. Um, and there was no consoling. He didn't help me, he actually hurt me. And I can go into the I'm going to go into the uh Arizona Wilder. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna. There was a witch hunt actually to get rid of me. I want to try and stay as chronological as I can. I'm gonna read some documents to you guys, and this will set the foundation. This is why you can see that I was living in a very interesting um, extended family environment. It was all good in the beginning, and then something happened. And then it started to happen in 2005, where it really then it started to get really then it was just from 2005, 6, 7 when I went to the Dolphins. In 2008 is when I finally left. Uh, that I went to the Dolphins for rest and recovery from a very abusive situation at home. There was a witch hunt to get rid of me, and I will share that with you right now. Um, Let me see. David sent this letter uh, to his family, to Carrie. I'm gonna share screen now. You guys are gonna see my whole. We're still learning the Zoom stuff, so please bear with us. I click share, and I'm gonna share, and this is the letter I'm going to read. This was a letter. Can you see that, Gabe?
Yes. Yes.
He said, Carrie, I appreciate you being concerned about me, but my safety is fine. Apart from the pressure of making sure everyone's income is secured and earning money. I'm going to pause here. Sideline. This letter came out when I started davidicke.com when I met David in 1998. I mean, in 98, we were in Bermuda, and I said, David, you should start your own website. I started davidicke.com. I worked with him. I left my business. I went traveling with David. He didn't want me to go anywhere but be with him. So we were working together with Bridge of Love, his company. I started davidicke.com. Um, I was the one who I learned how to code. I loved it. And I was basically his PA, his private assistant. We didn't go in, we were like peanut and butter. Nothing could separate us. So that's what he's talking about here. Um, Everything's fine because the family, there was a deliberate attempt to get rid of me behind the scenes, and I have a statement that I'll share in a moment about that. So what he's talking about here is apart from the pressure of making sure everyone's income is secured and earning money for lawyers with my talks here, I am actually having a great time and gathering fantastic information for my next book. This is when everything started to get rough behind the scenes, which I didn't know about, that the witch hunt was beginning. I'm very optimistic about the future, but dealing with lawyers and their crazy bills and presses my buttons big time. It hurts me to see hard-earned money handed over to them on such a scale, and for the donations of decent people to be going the same way. Oh, we're going to get into that stuff. No one is going to make any decision on distributors or printers or anything else to do with the business except me and Mum. And when this crisis is over, it's all going in our joint names anyway, as we have discussed. I don't know why they wanted rid of me, guys. Because I certainly didn't want the money. I had wills made out with David. I said, David, we need to make wills to make the family happy, because I didn't know what was going on. Do they think? And so that's what that's all about. Because I was working with David and running his schedule on the website and all that stuff. When Carrie, his daughter, came into the fold and started working at the business is when things started to go kind of
Mm.
wacky. We were friends before, it was all good, but then that's when something started to happen. Um, However, I am getting really sick of being told what I should do, should and should not do with my own life. If my attitude to Rob, Carrie's husband, or Mike, Linda, David's first wife's boyfriend, was a fraction of what yours is to Pamela, you would go apeshit. But I'm supposed to take it? You have no idea of the pressure it has put on my daily life, constantly assessing if Pamela can come with me anywhere in case I bump into you and Mom. You see where the problem is here, guys? It wasn't me. It wasn't just me.
Right.
And when it does happen occasionally, I really wish you could see the look on your faces. The hatred that comes across takes me aback.
Wow.
How about if you said you were going to see Gaz, that's David's son, at a gig or playing beach football, and Rob, Carrie's husband, had to say to you, "Can I come or will David and Jamie be there?" That's what I hear all the time. "Can I come or will Linda and Carrie be there?" That's what I would say to David. I am
Wow.
forced I'm forced to live two lives every day when I'm in England, hiding Pamela away so no one gets upset by her very presence. It is sickening and horrible to go through these two lives, this two lives ritual day after day after day. And the real reason behind her going back to America last year, so this must have been in 2006, um, if the truth be told, was to give me respite from this daily stress generated by my own family. By
Mm.
last summer, the paranoia had reached extraordinary proportions, and I needed a break before I keeled over. You have no idea. When you or Mom have relationships, I respect the people involved and treat them with respect in your presence. But there are different rules for me, it seems. The paranoia has reached insane levels now, with paranoia feeding even greater paranoia. For me to be parked on the side of the road, being told of some conspiracy about Pamela and domain ownership, that's the website, yeah, when the only reason they were in her name was because it allowed her to deal with the admin, etc., instead of me, as I wanted, was just crazy. The idea that she is somehow a danger to Aaron, Carrie's daughter, she was just a baby. The idea that she is somehow a danger to Aaron just blows me away. Sidetrack, guys. Carrie said that she didn't want me, David's wife, next to her daughter because she thought I was evil and she thought I would hurt her daughter. Um, Unbelievable. Uh, you must do, she goes, the idea that somehow a danger to Aaron, that the idea that she is somehow a danger to Aaron just blows me away. Pinch yourself, David. It can't be true. Ouch. Yes, it is. You must do whatever you choose, but would you please back off because I'm sick of it. Sick of the comments and the constant innuendo about the wrecking crew. That was my nickname behind the scenes. I was the wrecking crew, the code name for Pamela. She has had so many opportunities to wreck and has taken none of them. She has had the opportunity to exploit me financially and has twice walked away with little, even signing papers saying she is happy with that and everything was settled. In
Wow.
case it has escaped everyone's notice, it was Pamela, not me, who secured, which I did, first, a $10,000 gift for the legal fund, followed by a $120,000 grant to my work that will go to the business. As Pamela is not in any way connected to the business, it will not benefit her, but those who she knows hate her.
Wow.
How many are big enough to do that?
Sorry.
That's all right. I get see, I don't know why, but I get
No, I get it. I get
so
it.
what when it was in 2006 that we had gone to uh I left film school I left David in 2005 for film school. Well, I left for him for 2005. I found film school in Sedona. I was leaving. I packed my bags. It was all going to be good. Um, and it was then David called me back. He wanted me back. I left in August, I think it was, of 2005. And then in December, I've got the emails, guys. I don't know if I have it here. I didn't add it. But it's there. And then he said, "Come home. It's too painful." So I said, "David, I'm going through a 9 month. I found my love. I wanted to create documentaries and little videos and movie thingies for and share your work." And he said, come home, it's too painful. And this was December. So I left a 9-month course of film school after 3 months and I went back to hell and I didn't know it. So it was December of 2005 that I left film school. I said, we can do this, David, just 6 more months. We can do this. I'll get my thesis under my belt. But I didn't. And I left after the first semester, 3 months back to England. And had no idea what I was entering. If I did know, I wouldn't have gone back. But so that's what he's talking about there. Um, well, no, then the the $230,000 that was granted to Bridge of Love to help them because they were really seriously on the edge. And so when I left in 2005 with David from film school, I went back to England. It was during 2006. We went back to Sedona to visit, and we were at Regina Meredith's home. And I've got video of all this too. I just didn't have time, guys, I'm not skilled in Zoom, so I would love to have all the visuals to show you all this stuff. But when we were back, to Regina Meredith's home. She's on Gaia. She's the one I lived with when I left him in 2005. There's a whole nother story about how that happened. It was pretty magical. But I stayed at Regina's home. She offered her home for me to stay in. And that's where I was living when I went to film school. And it was when I was starting to move out. I'll back up a little bit about that. I was starting to move out from Regina's. I was there for 4 months and I paid her rent. And I found a condo and I was moving out. I was getting on with my life. I had film school. David and I were still friends and it was great. And I was going to help his work and share his message. And when David found out that I was about ready to sign a lease on a condo, he emailed Regina and said, "Is she serious?" And of course she's serious. Of course I'm serious, David. I'm getting on with my life. So when he found out that I was serious and I was moving out, I was going to get on with my life, that's when he moved in stronger. And I left again, but that's a whole nother line. But while we were there at Regina's, when I found out David was panicking because the business was kind of going down, I put out an SOS to my email list. I have the letter. I wish I could pop it up here for you guys, but I sent out an email, which I have, which will be in episode 2. I'll have all of this ready and prepared over there. I came over here quite quickly. And out of that email and all of the people I sent this to, I got a response from a wonderful lady called Amanda, who worked for a what do you call those places? Trust people, whatever they are. My brain is frying. Uh, my, the she donated $10,000 herself personally, and then the grant fund place donated 120,000, and her brother donated 100,000 personal. Total $230,000 went to Bridge of Love because of my efforts.
Wow.
And it saved the business. And then so he goes, how many are big enough to do that? She is not perfect, but then neither is anyone is. But she is misunderstood on a monumental scale, and the hurt she feels at the way you treat her and look at her, only she knows. But I tell you now,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. She has cried herself to sleep many times because
Okay.
of it. It's bloody disgraceful. It's okay. Just have patience with me. I'm fine. Just let me breathe. Anyway, it's about time this was said. Love, Dad. Now, Carrie's reply to her dad. How do I get rid of this one? There we go. Carrie replied. As you can see, it was by a typewriter. This was back in the day.
Yeah, I see that.
This is what Carrie said to her dad. Hi, look, emails don't really work. Things get misunderstood and taken the wrong way. I don't know if there is any way out of this situation. Sure, there is, Carrie. Let's get along. That's what Bridge of, you got a company called Bridge of Love. Um, I don't know if there is any way out of this situation, but I did want to try and find one. Not, but I took it. I took from your email that you weren't really that bothered, to be honest. Maybe I just misread it. I don't expect us to agree, but as I said nearly 3 months ago, I will not say how I feel and will butt out of your life. And I've not interfered or said anything against anyone since, and nor will I. It would be good to talk properly, even if it turns out to be a waste of time. But to be honest, I'm very nervous of you getting angry.
Mm.
See, David has an anger problem too. I don't deal with aggression well. Oh, I don't either, Carrie. Um, and tend to just fall apart. So I will ask that you don't shout or swear at me. So there's
Wow.
proof again about David's
Yeah.
anger. I don't really know what else to say. I guess I'm throwing the ball back in your court. Now we get to. So David says that. Um, uh, oh, I'm just going to pop this up real quick. This is their motto. Whoops, what happened there? Um, this is their motto. That's a screenshot, so I can't, it was a video, but the only truth is the truth is our only tribe. The truth is our only tribe, except Pamela. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here's the kicker. Here's a real big one. Matthew Deleuze, I don't know if any of you know who he is. He's an author in England. He became a very dear friend. Never met him in person, but David is actually the one who introduced me to Matthew. He said, Matt, because he got one of Matthew's books, and Matthew was unveiling the conspiracy world as well. Really good writer and everything. And it was when I was in, uh, he chose to write this statement. It was a surprise to me. Thank God, Matthew, you did this. So he wrote this to me, to Pamela Leigh Richards. During the years 2004 to 2006, I was starting to write and publish articles and self-published books that were linked to conspiracies and spirituality. In early 2007, the spring, remember, guys, I left for the Dolphins in 2007 for rest and recovery while all of this was going on. That's why, oh, that's a whole nother story. Just that. Okay, in early 2007 spring, just as my information was becoming popular, I was contacted by a man claiming to be the book sales manager, internet shop creator on the davidicke.com website. His name was John Peters, the very John Peters that I told you guys in my first interview. He said he was going to start selling my books over the internet on the David Icke Bookshop, but he said he needed to see me in person first. I immediately arranged to meet him in Morecambe, Lancashire. He traveled up from Surrey. We met at a hotel in Preston, but then traveled to the Stone Jetty on Morecambe Promenade. Within 5 minutes of talking with Mr. Peters about my books, the subject of Pamela Icke, the wife of David Icke, cropped up in the conversation after I commented on her good looks. I was then angrily informed that Pamela Icke was totally crazy. Mr. Peters immediately stated with an extremely confident tone that Pamela was going to disappear and be out on her ass soon. Mr. Peters also claimed Pamela was promiscuous, a slag was the term, and that he regularly enjoyed phone sex with her, and that the real physical sex was always on the table anytime he wanted it. I took this information about Pamela with a pinch of salt and put it down to fantasy and boasting on the part of an oversexed John Peters. Thank you, Matthew. That's correct. The meeting ended, and my books were to be sold on David Icke Books. Mr. Peters was then in constant touch with me for several months, and the subject of Pamela Icke was always brought up by Mr. Peters, especially about her sex life. But the main thing being she was going to be forced out or thrown out by David because she was up to no good. Mr. Peters claimed Pamela had sex or had flirtingly offered sex to several other men, including David's own son, Gareth. Come on over here, Gareth and David. Let's look me in the eye and say that. I was informed that members of David Icke's family, namely his ex-wife Linda and his daughter Carrie, had raised many red flags about Pamela to David and were constantly trying to get David to do something about it. It appeared that David wouldn't listen at first, but was being constantly informed by people around David that Pamela was trouble. Mr. Peters told me that Pamela's main aim in the marriage was to take or spend the money being created by the David Icke. He claimed all Pamela did was to spend all the money before it was earned. He even claimed Pamela spent $3,000 on hippie food in a week, organic cabbages, etc. That said, John Peters himself said DavidIcke.com was soon to make $1 million soon, and this would increase rapidly in the future. He also said that because of this increase in wealth, that a limited company would be set up in the names of Linda Atherton and others to purposely stop Pamela from claiming anything in the future after the ousting had taken place. I was informed even a psychic, Carol Clark, had informed David Icke that Pamela was up to no good and should be got shot of. This information was apparently applauded by Peters, as he said David took the words of Carol Clark very seriously indeed. As the months passed by in 2007, Mr. Peters constantly informed me about the Pamela situation, mostly sexual tales, but also tales of her intentions to take control of money from the business. It's like, what? It became clear to me, whatever Mrs. Icke was guilty or not guilty of, I never talked about money ever. Oh God, you guys. It became clear to me, whatever Mrs. Icke was guilty or not guilty of, that several people had it in for her and simply wanted her out of the way. At the time, I had no idea if the allegations about Pamela were true or not, but the situation started to appear sinister and totally unfair from my viewpoint. In fact, it felt like a witch hunt was taking place. I had neither met in person David or Pamela, so I had no insight into what was really going on. I only had the dirty linen type of information being provided constantly by Mr. Peters. That said, it was very clear that numerous people were telling David Icke that his wife was some sort of an Illuminati stooge or a mind-controlled agent out to rob him or cause destruction for David himself. I found some of the accusations absolutely ridiculous. John Peters constantly informed me about the attacks on Pamela almost on a weekly basis, but around October, November of 2007, I had irreversible cause to remove my books from the David Icke website over another matter involving accusations made by John Peters about a male friend of mine. This caused me deep distress and anger. I lost all contact with John Peters, and my brief relationship with David Icke books ended then. In December of 2008, I was actually contacted by Mrs. Pamela Icke over the internet over work-related issues. The conversations that followed and the extreme emotional state. Whoa! I got hit, sorry. Mrs. Icke was in at the time only confirmed my previous opinion that she was becoming the victim of a witch hunt, and sadly that witch hunt was prolonged and vicious in my opinion. I eventually informed Mrs. Icke of the prolonged comments made by Mr. Peters throughout 2007. I believe Mrs. Icke left her marital home permanently in 2008. That is correct. From my perspective, the witch hunt had gone on for well over 12 months, but Mr. Peters had stated that Pamela's position was always being scrutinized and she simply wasn't wanted or required as the business grew. I always found Mrs. Icke to be the total opposite of the Scarlet Woman painted by Mr. Peters, and I willingly write the statement based on those findings. That said, I could only write the statement because of what I witnessed directly from Mr. Peters, no one else. I state that my comments are true and accurate. I also state that I have not received any payment for making this statement. Signed, Matthew DeLuz, 27th September 2012. Unfortunately, Matthew is no longer with us. Now, when this is all going to tie in,
What happened to him?
he died of he was ill. He died of natural causes. Well, not natural causes, but he was very sick. He got really sick. Um this ties into this. This is a gentleman, and I don't even know who he was, but I think he was involved in the web, he was on the forum, I think, or maybe he's a friend of Dr. Turi. I don't know if any of you know I know Dr. Turi, Dr. Louis Turi. He's a friend. He lives in Phoenix, Arizona. Paul, I'm not sure, but Paul contacted Dr. Turi. And he said, "Hello, sir. Perhaps when you judge the time is right, you could give Pamela the heads up on something important. Team Ike are already in the process of making a campaign against her that will be based on the allegation that the information she is to release about her experience with David is all a symptom of brain damage. They are also going to say that because of her injury, she is a different person, and there's a lot of fear going on behind the scenes here, guys. They are also going to say, this is from the forum, which I got kicked out of as well. That's a whole nother story. They are also going to say that because of her injury, she is a different person, and that what she is saying only started after the injury and is delusional. How ironic. This guy, a great thing. I'm so glad. In preparation for this, they are scouring the forums and internet. They have lots of identities on forums and YouTube and removing all questions and comments people have that show a growing concern with Ike and his work. One of the moderators of the official forum has been dismissed because they created a thread that Heller, which is Maria Heller, I'm assuming that that's Maria Heller, she's a radio host, was a fraud, psychic. Yeah, that's Maria Heller. Along with all who have been asking what is happening to the money they donated to his legal fund. All such comments are being systematically removed, and the people making them are being banned from these sites even as we speak. She has friends out here, maybe more than she knows. Much gratitude. Um, and then that was 8. Let me just pull these up. That's me. Okay. You guys can see that okay. This is from Paul to me. Louis said, I think Louis said, yes, send it to her. Let me see where that is. Oh, that's Annie. Okay. Annie is 6. That 8 we did. 2 is that one. Yeah, here it is. This one here first. So you got that one.
Paul was the man that was the bookseller that had written a book.
No, that's Matthew DeLuz. Now we're into another thing that ties in with the wanting to get rid of me, the witch hunt, which I didn't know. Paul is I think he was probably an attendee to the David Icke forum on his
Okay.
website. Because that's where this is coming from. Paul says to Turi, let's go back here. Dr. Turi responded to Paul and said, "Do you have her email, Paul? This is very important for her to read. She will appreciate it."
Mm.
I don't know why I wrote that. And then she asked me not to contact her again with this stuff. Think she is assimilation, the last bombshell. So I'm leaving it to you to figure out when we would be appropriate. And then he sent, bad spelling. I think she's still letting the reality sink in. I should have said, and doesn't want new contact. We'll let you decide when she is ready to hear this. And then he emailed me. I usually wait to hear something two or three times for confirmation, and now I am sure. It doesn't come from any one particular individual. David has gone crazy and is getting rid of everyone who has started to ask questions about what he is up to and what he is actually doing with his legal defense money. In particular, the moderators of his forum that were being given the boot because they wouldn't toe the party line. He was expecting them to respond to questions about you by saying that you are crazy, but when they objected, he had all the threads closed that weren't in his favor and barred them. I was first given the heads up on this by these people as I kept in touch with them, some of them, so I would judge what they would have told me as being reliable. This was confirmed to me by other people that he has been planting seeds, telling the Pamela's crazy, Pamela changed after the accident, etc. sob story, hoping to have it appear on the Camelot Avalon forums, to name a few, but he's pretty much burnt his bridges with most of those guys too. Like I said, you have friends out here. It's probably best not to say any more on your site till you're ready to run with this, as the Pamela's crazy is going to be their stock response. David really has no idea how many people are onto him now or how they view him as he continues to surround himself with his business associates, his in parentheses handlers, LOL, who keep telling him everything he wants to hear and how to respond. Just be aware and don't give them any more fuel. This is Dare Paul's advice to me. And then I said, "Hi, Paul and Louis. I just returned from London. It's almost 1 a.m. now. I am shocked and speechless with what Ike and Co. are doing. If what you say below, Paul, is true, where did you get your info from that they are starting a campaign about these things? Patience, my friends, patience. I can assure you, I take no medications now and never had steroids, nor have I ever done. Um, uh, was off the morphine and sleeping pills as soon as I left the hospital. While at home, I did take pain pills for the ribs at times, but not often. Thank you very much for caring. Love, Pamela, all that stuff. This is just to give you guys some background here. Um, this is I
Wow.
my divorce with David began. So there, I have to back up a little bit because I'm just giving you this stuff which ties in. This is my fall. I left David February 3rd of 2008. He drove 16 hours straight from Northern California on January 23rd of 2009. I had been away from him for 1 year. He came back for another attempt at reconciliation. He said, "I'm going to be in town." I've got the emails on that too. I'm coming into town. Um, can I come see you? And I said, "Not with the baggage." And he surprised me at 4 a.m. on the 23rd of January of 2009. He stayed for 45 days and I kicked him out. And then he said, "You're going to lose that little glass house." And he said he was offering to do a Phoenix event. And I said, "Oh," I turned him down 3 times. I said, "Okay, I need the money. Workers worth their wages." I did a Phoenix event October of 2009. And I've got the emails right now. I'll pull them up so you can put them together. Okay, guys. And then we did the event. I knew I was going to get the abuse on the run up to the event. Exactly what happened. He said, "I don't want to see you. I don't want to be near you at the event. I'm the producer. I'm a professional." So the morning of the event, he comes up. He's on stage. Back at the booth and doing my thing because normally I'd be down there fixing it all up and I'd be involved and we'd give a hug and all that normally. No, this time I was biting by his wishes. So that was what happened. He came on the stage. He's doing his own thing with his laptop. I'm back at the sound booth doing a check. I got walkie-talkie so I didn't have to see David or be near him. So I'm talking to my runners and up through walkie-talkie. And then a runner comes up the aisle. I'm back at the sound booth and he goes, "Pam, David wants to see you." I went, "Oh." I walk down. I'm at side stage. I'm looking up. David stands up there. He looks me up and down. He says, "You look nice." Opens his arms wide open like he always used to do. I walk up the steps. I give him a hug. It's the last time we touched. Went down, did the show. It was great. And then he goes off. When he left, he was supposed to send papers. We were going, just send me the papers, right? I left with nothing. Just send me the papers. But he was delaying the papers for obvious reasons. He didn't want me to go again because he came back after 1 year away. Um, but he brought the abuse, and I wasn't having it anymore. So this is I wrote on the so that was 2009, the October event, Phoenix event, and the divorce was beginning. And January, uh, now there's another side story here. I'll give you a quick brief on it. It's going to be really in depth on episode 2 with Dorian because it's too much here. I can't do it twice. And I'm still putting it together. But for you guys, on the run, when I left in 2008, see, this is what David is not listening to or even looking at because he closed the door on communication with me. Um, I started to co-author a book. I was getting on with my life, right? And I was fine. David and I were amicable. No problem. Just get the papers. We're going to get divorced. I'm going to move on. And everything was fine. I was co-authoring a book, and my co-author just happened to be a Juris Doctorate, a JD in Canada. She found me somehow. I don't know how we connected, and uh, and she was going to write a book, and she offered, let's co-author, and I said sure. I was going to tell my dolphin stories, and it was a very positive book, and her specialty as a JD, Juris Doctorate, was marital issues. Funny enough. And she goes, well, one time she goes, "You left with nothing?" And I said, "Uh-huh. Why?" She could, and anyway, so she wrote up a proposal, and I said, "Sure, okay, I'll pass it over." And that's when David lost his shit. He went ballistic. Because I was even just proposing an offer, he knows me well. All he had to do was talk to me and say, "We can't afford this, Pam. Of course you can't afford it." And I would have said, "No, just give me the papers. I'll sign them. I'll go back to where I left, right?" It would have been fine. But instead of doing that, he got pissed off because I even offered a proposal. He blew the lid off his head. And and because of that, um, I also, yeah, I fractured nine ribs, top of my spine, my left wrist, and my skull. I was flown by helicopter north. Um, the hematoma in my brain was, if it moved just a hairline fracture further, I wouldn't be here. So, so I leave. Um, we did that. I set the proposal. That was in December-ish, and then he was getting upset and all that. Anyway, we turned the corner into 2010. First week of 2010, he said, "Now you can talk to my lawyers." I had my fall the 23rd of January, just a couple of weeks later when our divorce began. So I was healing from a TBI and our divorce began. Um, and he dragged me it took 2.5 years to divorce Mr. Infinite Love. Just that is a little show unto itself with all the evidence,
Yeah.
um, with all the evidence and everything. So I did that. Got Bryce Taylor there. We got, yeah, here. Okay, so I'd like to do this in the sharing real quick here, just to show you the love we had. Okay, I'm just going to go through a lot of them. You're not in love with somebody this deeply in love, and then turn around and do a 180. I used to say, "David, you're like Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get," because he would flip out and I don't even know why. What? Um, that was in, yeah, met Donovan. That was at a Sufi event. This was in Bermuda. Uh, see, you don't, this was on this, we thought I was pregnant here. Um, but this is in the Verde Valley train ride in Arizona. We came in, we're on our way to Brazil to do ayahuasca. And we were on this train ride. I thought I was pregnant. We actually tried to have a baby in Sedona. We were at the Wildflower Inn. We deliberately tried to have a baby. I thought I was pregnant because my moon cycle didn't happen. I thought, oh, I because it was supposed to happen, it didn't. We thought I was pregnant. And when we got to Brazil, I found out I wasn't. There was a doctor there, and he said, "No, you're not pregnant." It's really interesting as well as my moon cycle never came back from
That's
that
strange.
every that time. I know, isn't that interesting? I'm
After
glad.
ayahuasca.
This was when I was in Phoenix at film school. That's me. No, that's me. Good people, good people. Um, and this is the photograph when David came to surprise me. This is David in my little glass house. That's my camera. This is David on my patio. We actually looked across the valley here. This is in Sedona, and uh, uh, Airport Vortex is right here. Um, he said we should get a house over there, right? We actually drove around looking at houses and stuff. I was willing to give it a try, but oh my God. Well, I'll tell you what happened on the when he arrived before I kicked him out. This is when I kicked him out. It was the day I kicked him out. Had he had an it was a Saturday. He had an interview that night. I'm on the phone with a friend in England, and I'm going to put that picture up while I'm telling you this. I had an interview I mean, I was on the phone with a friend in England. She's a well-known person as well. Um, and And David was in the middle. I have sliding glass doors everywhere. Everywhere is a sliding glass door. That's why it's my little glass house. A sliding glass door between the kitchen and my in the bedroom, and then the bathroom's over there. So I'm talking to her in the bedroom, which is also my office. He walks from the kitchen through the sliding glass door into the bathroom, and I'm talking to my friend, and he opens the door to the bathroom and he storms through the bedroom. It was like a walking flame, and I don't even know why. And I'm talking to my friend, and he storms through there, storms to the kitchen. I'm finished. She heard it, and she goes, "Who's that?" I said, it's just David. Anyway, I got off the phone with her, and he was out standing out in the garden looking out. I walked through, and I put my arms around him, and he throws me back. And he yelling and saying, every time, paraphrasing this, every time I heard you say the word kind, it made me sick, blah, 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 blah. And he walks through the kitchen into the bathroom and is going to take a shower. I'm just like, what? What? Anyway, while he's in the shower, I pack his bags and I put them at the door. He opens the door to the shower, sees his bags, and he goes, "Oh, I guess I'm leaving." I didn't say anything. I walked into the bathroom, closed the door, and I wasn't coming out until he was gone. Then it goes on. I get the call. He parked under a tree. I'm si Play the violin. You're, I wasn't feeling well, and and blah blah. I'm thinking, wait a minute. You could have gotten a hotel, rested, done your little interview that night, and be on your merry way. But no. And then he said, he was in communication, did his thing, whatever. He said, and I've got the email. I've got the email. I should show it. He said, "You're gonna lose that little tiny glass house." Um,
It's a threat?
hmm?
Was it a threat?
No, he was concerned that I was gonna lose it, and
Okay.
you're gonna leave. You're gonna need money, and that's when he offered the Phoenix event. Um, there we go, right there. April 2nd, 2000. I threw him out March something. March. He was here for 45 days from January 23rd. He stayed for 45 days, whatever that is. It was about March 16th or something. I put him out. And then, Pam, this is on April, unless there's something I don't know, you're going to be running out of money well before this year is through, and that house of yours is going to be history. I am still willing to help you by doing a Phoenix event from which you would get 50% of profits. If you did the legwork of organization, let me know. Love, David. Um, and I shared that with you earlier, guys. I did the event. Um, so that was in April 2009. Okay,
Okay.
let me just show you a little bit of this. The verbal. Oh, um, you. I sent. Okay. This is also April of 2009. So you've got the doing the Phoenix event. He offered again. He emailed me saying that, right? Um,
Right.
what's the date on that? Come on. He he clicked the wrong one. So if you look at the timing in between, um, Okay, look at the date. Look at the date. This was April 2nd. He's willing to help me, right? April 2nd.
Correct. Yeah.
Now we come to April 23rd.
Okay. Same year.
Yeah, just same month. Um, April
Yeah.
2nd, April 23rd, just a few days, a week later or whatever. Um, he had, this was a little later. Okay, that's October. Um, Here we go, April 23rd, same. Okay, these two right here. He had um, sent me an email. This is my response. He goes, I'm not taking your shit anymore, Pam. And I responded, nor am I taking yours. You are like Jekyll and Hyde to the extreme. Talk about within minutes. What are you doing in January? Would you like a visitor? I mean, you see the Jekyll and Hyde here.
Yes,
I
I
get the
do.
abuse. Are you prepared to listen? And you said, yes. In this he said, yes, there would have to be a clearing, a massive one. I said, then listen for once. And then I put love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Don't you think it's
Mm.
time?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So when are we going to start? How about, oh, wait a minute. That is what David wrote on one of his newsletters. Don't you think it's time? Yes. So when are we going to start? How about now? That was on one of his newsletters. I'm pretty sure it was his newsletter. And then on the 23rd, on the same day, I wrote him and I said, you say to people, if you want peace, be peaceful. How can you and I be peaceful when you think what you think of me? I mean, I am so bloody confused sometimes, David. You just said you love me, but within minutes you could be hurling the most heart-wrenching abuse. You really have some sick and warped ideas about me and what you think of me. I can't get through to you. As long as you refuse to look at yourself and what you have done, take responsibility, and give me the courtesy of acknowledgement, it will remain one of the biggest knots between us. You can shout at me in anger without me having a clue as to why. No calm, no sitting down and listening, just reacting. Yet, I have a moment and you hang up on me. You are such a hypocrite, David. You called for a nice chat, but what is vitally important is for this clearing to happen. You even agreed back in December by saying, yes, there would have to be a clearing, a massive one. This massive clearing is not just about me, it is about you too. That is what you are doing on a global scale, clearing the path by opening minds to see more clearly. Yet, right here between the two people, they can't get clearing. Even after I told you what your words have done to me, how it felt, you never once offered an apology. I mean, I was pouring my heart out. Your silence on this spoke loudly. So the the emails. I was showing you all the yeah, all these pictures. Um I hope you guys can pick up on the wackiness of this. The absolute
Yeah. It's night and day, black and white. Very typical of abusive situations.
yeah, this was when I first met him. This was in Mexico. We went to Chichen Itza, um, and this was in when we went to Berchtesgaden, my home in southern Bavaria. We took a trip there, so you can see the love stuff.
Yes.
And
It was
oh, and
chemistry.
oh yeah, let's see if we can get this going.
My books and hear what I'm actually saying.
We can't hear him.
You got it.
Violence. I am all
Okay,
violent.
that's better.
Once you are violent, you have lost whatever cause you are so-called fighting for. My philosophy on life is totally against violence of any kind.
Okay, guys, did you pick up on that one? All right.
Yes. He's
And here's
against violence of any kind.
mm-hmm. Yep. Hypocrite. Total hypocrite. Let me get this down here.
I hope that my life experience has shown how important it is to speak your truth, whatever that may be, no matter what the actions and reactions of others.
An energy transfer. It's stealing the life force energy of a child for a brief moment to feel, yeah, to forget basically what you had to endure.
You've got to imagine that you are a little child, and this is happening to you. Not once, systematically, day after day after day after day. And try walking away from that when you have, as I have, talked to these people later in life in the United States, in Canada, in Europe, Australia, so many places, South Africa, and you realize it's true. Try walking away from that. I can't, unfortunately.
It's very low.
What?
That was very low, the volume.
Oh, was it? Okay, one more. Oh, this. Okay, you guys can't hear it. Turn
I
your
don't know if
volume.
we can. The last one was very low. Let's see what this one's like.
Okay, turn your volume up. Tell me if you can hear it. Can you hear it better? Can you hear it better?
No.
I don't know why, because the volume's all the way up on the video, and I don't know. Yeah, we're learning. Anyway, this I'll just share, guys. This was um when I went back to England. This was in 2006 after leaving film school in 2005, and you saw that information on 2000. I was in just the horrible stuff. It was good and it was bad. And then it was 2006 that the documentary but from Channel 4 was done on David's life called David Icke, Was He Right? Which David wants to dismiss as if that documentary never existed. But no, I've got it out there all over the place. And because he's trying to keep me quiet as if I didn't exist, as you know, he's trying to silence me, but I won't go quietly. Um, and this was during when they came to the house to film because I never went anywhere without a camera. And when the film crew came into our flat just to start filming, Norman, what a wonderful director. He saw me filming them, filming David. And then Norman changed the script and brought me into the script, into the film. And this was one piece. Actually, I have all the tapes. I contacted Channel 4, BBC, after the filming was done. I asked for my tapes back, and they said, sure. Not only did they give my tapes back, but I have all of the film footage from all of it, even from the other filmmakers. But this was a scene in it. It had,
I don't hear any volume.
okay, you guys don't have, because what I'm saying here is they asked me what I was doing, and it kind of goes in line with the whole thing about me supporting David. I said um, I want to take David's work and put it into film, and it just needs to be done properly and very powerfully and strongly. I wish oh, that's right. We don't have, let me finish it just in case people can hear it on when we go live. When you take it live in the chat, they can tell us. Yeah, you could. Yeah.
This won't have a chat because we're not live. They can leave comments underneath when it's uploaded.
I'm sorry, darling. I meant comments.
Oh yeah,
So
comments.
that'll give us a reading on what's happening here as well. Now you are saying that you can't hear it at all.
Barely.
Okay,
Barely.
let me. I'll finish it and maybe let's see what the audience can hear. This is a good test. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and try.
Okay.
Oh, my main intent is I wanted to normal file. Nothing will stop the information from being delivered in a way that it needs to. Because most films and documentaries that come out, they only go so far. And it's very frustrating when you know that, well, they didn't show them that. They could have gone here. So I know me, and I know David, you know, we're going to create a documentary, bringing in the right people with the right talent to make documentary with information that will blow people out. It will wake them up so fast. And that's what we need. So I'm working on that. And now,
Okay, that'll be a good test. Um, that's right. You know what? I think I'm talking to the audience right now. Have you heard me?
Oh,
I just realized that. I was in this zone. Like I think I felt like I was talking to the audience, but I
well,
guess
you
I,
will be, when this is uploaded, if that's what you mean. Um,
yes, it is.
you do you think we should move over to Arizona now?
Yes. Okay, so
Um,
yeah, you tell me as much as you've heard so far. Uh, do you want me to go into yeah,
well,
I
let's
can do it.
see. We're at 320. Is this been an hour and a half already?
Probably it's a big story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll go I'll go into
Why don't
Arizona.
we segue into Arizona and
Okay.
then you do like a half an hour and then I'll just cap it off with maybe 10 minutes or 15 at the end.
Yeah, yeah, are you limited on
No, not really. I mean, was there more? Did I, did you have more
Oh,
to,
there's so much more, darling, but I think this is enough for now. And then I'll go into Arizona now. Because if
well,
there's
did you want to like verbally wind it up or do you want to wait and present the rest of it later? How much more did you have? Did you have more prepared?
I'm done with all the visuals except for Arizona and Bryce Taylor.
Oh, okay, great. Perfect. Then go for it.
Yeah, I provided enough evidence, I think.
Thank you. I feel like I just came out of a movie theater about a documentary about David Icke.
I know, right?
It was
I'm glad
good.
I had.
You know
Mhm.
that reference to Whitney Houston and her daughter in that email?
At the very bottom from Louis Turi,
Yeah, you know
it
they were
said
both
God, it
murdered
said
in a
God, Whitney,
bathtub.
something. Hmm?
They were both murdered in a bathtub.
Yes, I know that.
So
Yeah.
that was, I think, a reference to a witch hunt and what he maybe feared would happen to you. But go ahead.
Ah,
I think,
okay. Okay, so but that's pretty brutal. When I saw that
yeah,
the yeah, so we're still talking to the audience, right?
yep, we are. We
Thank
will be till we're done.
thank you. Love you, audience. Thanks for hanging in here. There's still some more popcorn. All right. Okay, so now the next thing I'd like to talk about on this session is Arizona Wilder, how I met Arizona Wilder. Well, I told you about how I met Bryce Taylor for the first time at that conference, and she said that I was much higher than her. And then I did, and David was writing The Biggest Secret at the time, so he was investigating and researching, and this is how I met all these people on the tours, and Arizona Wilder, Kathy O'Brien, Bryce Taylor, those
Wow.
three. And uh, I actually, we stayed. Okay, I'll bring Bryce Taylor last because I stayed with her. I'll bring up Arizona.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
because that's the
the
sequence.
title of the video or what we were going to focus on was the week that you and David spent with her.
Okay.
because it was a kind of a monumental time historically. It was 1999 when David did that famous interview with her. I mean,
Yeah.
after you do your intro to
Was that
her.
1999 that that interview happened?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, thanks for the timeline. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so David and I headed out to flew out to California, and we stayed with um, Arizona, and um, you can't see that? That's right.
Not yet. You're going to share again,
Yeah.
I think.
Yes, I need to
That
share.
was a
So
really interesting picture of Arizona
yeah,
you showed me before we started.
yeah. So I'm going to share again. I'm going to share, and so as I talk about it, we'll just put this up here. Um, and this is actually at the house where it happened. Um, should I do them one at a time? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got this one. Let me
I just
see.
want to say briefly to people who aren't familiar with Arizona Wilder, to those of you in our circle of survivors and who are familiar with satanic ritual abuse. Uh, Arizona Wilder was abducted early in her life and was put under MK Ultra mind control using the monarch techniques for creating sex slaves. And it's the worst torture imaginable, electrocution, sodomy, rape. And she was mind shattered. And then she was used by the royal family of England as the mother goddess. She was forced under mind control to orchestrate the royal family's satanic ritual. And that's kind of in a nutshell. She did escape. And this is 1999 when she told David Icke in the famous interview about her life with the royal family.
Thank you.
Okay, that's my spiel.
Thank you. And also, I'll add to that, she is a Rothschild. She was
Yes,
actually,
please add to that because I'm sure you know much more than I do about her personally.
yeah, she's a Rothschild. She was abused in the womb. She uh the abuse was unbelievable. Spinning her around under a light. It's horrible. Yeah, so she was born she's a Rothschild. She's bloodline.
It's
So
interesting.
uh so when we visited, and this is the actual home, this is the backyard where I'm going to tell you an incident happened in the house, and we moved out into this yard. Um, and this is inside the house. And this is Brian Desborough. He's a scientist. I forgot the area of field of science, physics and things like that, space science, things like that. We arrived and we were there, and the incident that happened was one day. We were there for like 10 days, I think. It might have been seven, but about I think it could have been seven, but it was at least seven. While we were there, it was a fairly small home. David and Brian were out in the living room area, and I was with Arizona. We had sat at the bottom of the stairs, and we were talking, and she pulls out this velvet pouch and pulls out a headdress. It was a beaded headdress. It looked like it was a headdress that, if you can imagine a cap, kind of like a beaded cap, and had a long trail behind it, right? That
Wow.
it was a headdress, um, and it was all beads. It was very beautiful. But she pulled it out of the pouch and she showed it to me, and she was telling me how she would wear this at the rituals, and she was one of those people who had the power to hold back, in the rituals with the queen.
Of England.
This
Yeah.
She would wear that with the queen and the royals in England. They used to fly them out at night and things like that. Um, and yeah, and she was the one that would hold back or call the demons in, call whatever in, and also be able to hold certain ones back, something like that. Anyway, that's what
Yes.
she did. And she did that.
Very
Anyway, she
rare
puts it back in the
talent.
pouch, and we move over to the dining table, which is right by the sliding glass door, which is going out into the garden, what you see here. They're yeah, they're actually looking at the glass door. That's where I came out of. So, and the table, just to give you a visual, the dining table is right there on the other side of the door. So we're sitting at the table. Now my back is to this garden, sitting at the table, and to my right is Brian, and to my left is Arizona. And David was walking in the living area over there, and we're having a conversation, whatever. Arizona had in her lap this headdress, and she kept rolling it around in her hands as and I just for some reason I was watching her roll it over and over and over in her hands. It was almost like I was mesmerized. I was just watching it, and all
Mm.
of a sudden I screamed and pointed at it because something came out of it energetically to me. And I screamed. I'm going, oh, and I started screaming, whatever. And it's because I could feel something come. Anyway, I was screaming, and I stood up, and I went out in the yard, and Brian was with me, and because I was going, the necklace, and and so that and then we calmed down. They took a big bowl, put it on the table with water and I think salt, water and salt in it, and then they did a cleansing on it. I was standing there at the table. It was Arizona and Brian, and David was standing over there, but Brian and Arizona were the ones that were really doing some kind of a cleanse on it. Um, and so that happened.
Wow.
And
And this was the tiara she wore in Buckingham Palace with the royal family when they were doing satanic ritual.
it's not a tiara, honey. It's a headdress. It's literally
Headdress.
a
What was
bead.
it comprised of? Was it jewels or gold or
Yes,
silver?
jewels probably. I don't remember, but it was like crystals and jewels and things like
Wow.
that. I wish I could show you a picture of what it could possibly look
Yeah.
like. Um, I should have gone. I could look one up. But the anyone can. Yeah. Do you want me to look one up?
No, that's okay.
Okay. So that's Arizona. And when that the Revelations of a Mother Goddess tape in in that room. It was a hotel room, and I was there. And when David did that interview, and I, Arizona was a very close friend to both of us. And then we bring in then the next one would be Bryce Taylor. Uh, remember, the whole time I was with David, he thought I was a multiple I was traumatized somehow, or I was a victim of something. Um, and all that time, this was in 1999. So if the revelations of a mother goddess happened in 99, thanks for the timeline, in December of 1999, I forgot to get those pictures. I didn't think I was going to go this far. In December of 1999, let me, I have to get those pictures. Let me just look something up. I don't know if I can do it while I'm on share. No, I can't do it.
That's okay.
After I stop sharing here and tell you the story, I'll pop up these two pictures because they're with me and Sue Ford and Ted Gunderson was in the house. What David did was he thought he was helping me to
Right.
deprogram, and he sent me to Las Vegas. And we went into Sue actually arrived at this house because with the help of the head of the FBI, his name was Ted Gunderson, and he brought her to Las Vegas because to protect her, right? He was trying to protect her. He was a protector of people like this, and David dropped me off thinking, Sue could help me. But help me from what, David? Because nothing ever happened. I never flipped. I don't have different personalities or anything like that. But David, I suppose he wanted me to be. I don't know. Um, Anyway, so he drops me off. I stayed for a month, and Sue would do these light tests, this light thing on my eyes and whatever, and her daughter Kelly came to the house as well. Ted stayed there. I used to make his bed on the couch, and it's a tri-level
Ted
home.
Gunderson, the head of the FBI, was with
Yes,
you. Bryce
he's
Taylor.
he stayed with us. Yeah,
That's
not
interesting.
not the full time, but he for some time. Yeah.
That's
I was I,
interesting.
I was there for a whole month, and I do have those photographs, and I wish I had them. I didn't know I was going to go here, but they're pictures of me, and Ted and Sue and Kelly at the table. It was Christmas dinner and all of that. That's a whole nother story. And
Yeah. Let's try to go back to Arizona, because I know a lot happened that week, and I want to try to stick to. I would love to talk about Bryce Taylor and Ted Gunderson, but
yeah, okay, I
I
know.
want to try to get through the. I wanted to ask you. I know that Arizona gave you a VHS tape that I don't think anybody else has seen, and you
Oh,
watched
yeah.
it with her. Can you tell us what was on that tape?
No, let's clarify. For some reason, she handed me a VHS tape and she wanted to give it to me. And I don't know why. I didn't watch it with her. Um, I watched it later. And the only what I remember is seeing, I'm watching this tape. It showed, it was like whatever building she was in. The camera operator was walking from one room into through a door, and when you entered that door, it was just a long hallway. Not really, not too wide, as wide, probably wide enough to hold a hospital bed. A hospital bed from the head of the bed to the foot of the bed. The head of the bed would be on the opposite side of the wall, coming out in the middle of the hall, this hall here. But there's enough room on the this side as a walkway, right? So you're walking at the feet of the bed. And when you walk in, this is what I remember seeing. You walk through the door, camera turns right down this hallway. They looked like hospital beds, one after the other. I don't remember seeing anyone else except Arizona was on one of them. No one else was around. She was on one of them, and she was changing altars. And she would sit up and she'd be changing altars and saying things that were different altars, right? And that's all I remember from this video.
Was she
Um,
upset? Was she yelling? Was she just talking in different altars?
it was my feeling is that she was trying to get away from something, or
Mm.
um, she wasn't happy. That's for sure. It's almost like she was remembering the torture because she kept sitting up and and she, yeah, that's what it was just really
Wow.
weird. Yeah, it was very powerful, and I don't know why she gave it to me, but maybe she just wanted to get it out at some
Yes.
point, maybe.
Do you
Um,
have any more visuals on the week with Arizona? Or,
n no, I don't.
okay. Do you want to stop share, or is there anything left that you want to I mean, we can keep talking, but
No,
is there any
let's.
more visuals you have?
Um,
You are?
there I am. I just wanted to finish up if you guys would like, just to finish up what I had witnessed with Bryce at the home is I actually witnessed the programming, mother-daughter programming, and you know that they a lot of the daughters are named Kelly. It's a common name in the
That was
arena.
Kathy O'Brien's daughter's name was Kelly.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. Kelly's a common name in the field. But when Kelly was there, I witnessed her flip. She wanted to watch certain shows and Bryce was saying, "No, you can't watch that. You can't watch that." And then she had I could see the programming. She wanted to call her dad. And Bryce as well was worked for a dentist. And her husband is also part of the program, of course. And Kelly wanted to go to the phone and call her dad. And I clearly saw that was the program, a program kicking in.
Right.
And Bryce said, "No, no, you can't call Dad." Um, and then one time she flipped out, and Bryce and I were up. Had ran upstairs. We went upstairs in the master bedroom, Bryce's room, and Kelly was on the bed, and I was with Arizona. I mean, I keep getting mixed up. Bryce, Bryce and I were on the bed with Kelly because she was flipping out, and we had to hold her down and comfort her.
Mm.
I witnessed this thing, this what happens, and it's very sad, very sad. Um, Breaks my heart what you all go through, have gone through, and soft landings over here, that's for sure.
Do you recall if you were the camera person during the Mother Goddess interview with Arizona when David interviewed her, or you were in the same room? Can you tell us if you were the camera person and what was going on with Arizona? What was her mood, her feeling? What were you gathering from that emotionally during that interview?
Well, it's interesting. I think I was the cameraman. I think there might have been two people, or maybe I was just watching. That's real. I've wondered that. I would have to ask David. Was I there? I mean, I know I was there, but was I holding the camera? Because there were two cameras, I think. Was it just one angle? I'd have to get Revelations of a Mother Goddess and watch it myself, the whole
I'm going to
thing.
bring it up in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it'll help you.
Okay.
Did she seem tense? Did she seem
Not at all.
during the week you were with her, was she different when she went on camera?
Mm-mm. She was the same. She was just like the same going in, the same, very calm, extremely calm.
Mm,
Um, I mean, you can see it in when she's being interviewed. She's very, I was watching her hands, if they were fidgeting or anything like that, and watching her eyes to see where they were looking. She was, it almost did seem like she was in a program.
yes. And she does testify that she was after in some of the documents I'm going to bring out
Mm,
that she was in a trance.
yeah, yeah, that's right.
Was it a
Yeah.
nice week? Was it a fun week, other than the fact that a demon jumped out of the veil or whatever you call it? Was it what did you do?
Headdress,
Did you talk a lot
headdress.
or
Yeah, it's funny because I don't remember. I remember sleeping in the bed with David. Um, it was like not a very large, it was like a full-size bed. Um, I remember that room. I remembered sleeping with David in the room, and I remembered very clearly the stairs and the headdress and at the table and all that, but nothing else. I remember nothing else. Isn't that
that's
weird?
very interesting. That's very interesting
But
that
I
you don't.
remember, I know it is, isn't it?
Yeah. That's probably another whole video.
I was thinking about things that I remember. I remember throughout my life with David, maybe except for that moment, I guess. But I remember in detail almost everything.
Interesting, but
Our
not that.
our
Do you remember
travel.
any
Go ahead.
do you remember any conversations you had with Arizona, any that stick out in your mind?
You cut out a little there, darling. Could you repeat
Oh,
that?
do you remember any conversations? Do any conversations stand out in your mind that you had with Arizona?
No, we've been in touch. We were in touch, and David would contact her. There was a letter that she sent that she wrote to David. I think I have it. And she didn't talk good about me.
Mm,
She was saying that I was something, I just remember that the gist of the letter was basically saying, um, be careful of Pam or something. Not be careful of her, but she was, because David seeks out a lot of psychics and things. And he says he always follows his intuition. No, he doesn't. Um, and she, I gotta find the letter,
Yeah.
and I gotta
It
find the letter because I think I have it. I'm pretty sure I have it.
sounds like there was a lot of mind control going on that week if there's like very little memory of it, and also that she seemed like she was maybe in a trance. Do you want me to start sharing? I have about 10 minutes of information that
Sure, however you want
Emma
to roll on.
Catherine has shared with me and Jeanette Archer, uh, which would kind of top it off about Arizona. It's probably 10 or 15 minutes worth. If you think this is a good time, I'll go ahead and do that.
Yes, I'm done. I think I've given enough proof, and I
Yes.
wanted to share with the audience, give them enough proof of what I'm saying is true. And there's again on episode 2 with Dorian, it's going to be the full Monty.
And I can leave a link to that show and to his YouTube channel too. So if they want to hear the more of the a similar vein of the story, they can watch that too. I'll put his link below the video.
Thank you,
I
darling. That's
found
very
it
kind of
very
you.
informative, and I think it was linear. The how things unfolded was clear, and the back and forth became clear. It's funny, we started out with the really really heavy hitting stuff and the root of what was going on as far as the sexual exploitation, and I think now you've developed how it happened, how the relationship developed, and how it was very contaminated by the family and a witch hunt, and I think you made that really clear,
Thank you.
so thank you.
Thank you. It'll get clearer.
It's getting pretty clear. So I'm going to just share some information. First of all, I'm going to show the the video that we've been talking about, the Mother Goddess. That most people who have been watching this will know exactly what I'm talking about. They know a lot of people know about the Mother Goddess. Let's see. First of all, I just wanted to call out Emma Catherine of the Imagination podcast. She was the one that dug up these old documents that Arizona had written, and she texted me the information. She saw our interview, Pamela, last Friday, and she wanted to share that information she had about Arizona. And so that was very, just want to give her a call out. You know, she's an angel for all the survivors and has given hundreds, I guess, at this point of Arizona's of survivors a voice in here and a really safe place. So this is the interview that Pamela and I have been talking about. David Icke and Arizona Wilder interview 1999. So Arizona here is talking reptilian bloodlines, MK Ultra. So I'm going to show just a few minutes of this for a couple of reasons. I want everyone to hear her voice because I'm going to play her voice again, and this will just clarify that it is her speaking in the next one. So Pamela was in the room. She might have even been filming. We don't know. So I'll just play a few minutes of this. This is when she revealed huge. She talked about Princess Diana. She had heard a conversation between the Queen Mother and Muhammad about they were gonna in the future they were talking about Diana's death, and they were planning it. Arizona overheard it, and so I'm just going to play about 5 minutes of this, but I recommend anybody that wants to know more about Arizona and the whole underworld of MK Ultra and SRA to watch this. Like that is compliance with them. To them, I want to expose them, and I
Volume is very low, honey.
Can you hear it?
Barely.
Accounts like Satanic and many other accounts they talk about the gods interbreeding with humanity. Is this relevant to the reptilian way of infiltrating the human race?
Yes, it is, because human beings through the ages have accepted God's interbreeding or being accepted as humans, and that shows in Christianity, it shows in Judaism. It also, they have used Egyptology or the Egyptian religions a lot, and the present head of the Illuminati compares himself a lot with the Egyptian god Osiris and Horus, which is Osiris reborn, and also with the Arthurian legends of the Round Table. And he has a name, and the name that he carries for that is Pindar, which actually means phallus of the dragon. And the other name, Osiris, has carried because he takes the name at this time, the Marquis de Libera, which means liberator of or from the waters. And the story of Osiris is that he was cut into 14 pieces and thrown into the River Nile. And the one piece, Isis found the pieces and put them back together again. And she could not find the 15th piece, which happened to be the phallus, so a gold phallus was made. And this is very important in this whatever this group in the Illuminati. This is important, and it's important to think that about the head of the Illuminati, because what comes from a golden phallus would be a superior seed.
I'm not going to play too much of it in case people can't hear. Do you have any comment on that, Pamela? Do you remember this?
You can bear. I remember it very well. Yes, this is one thing that I remember very well in that room. I remember her. I remember Revelations of a Mother Goddess, the filming of it all. Um, I was just, yeah, I was watching her because what a precious being. What a precious being. And I was listening to what she was saying. I was really paying attention. I remember the Pindar days. Oh yeah, that's funny. I've forgotten about that one. And during that time, but yeah, she was she yeah, when if she's admitting that she was,
Well, let me
that's
go
interesting.
on to this is a blog that she wrote in 2011 that's been kind of archived, and Emma Catherine resurrected it and sent it to me. It's called Silence is Betrayal, Open Missive from Jennifer Ann Keeley. And that was her name after she married Glenn Keeley, who died in very mysterious circumstances in Canada. And I'm going to read the first paragraph and then go down to another paragraph that applies directly to what we're talking about with David Icke. This is my open missive to the system and the world. The system includes any of those who planned, participated, and have benefited from using me or abusing me for the illicit gain, whose thinking is, as far as I'm concerned, sociopathic or psychopathic, and that it allows them to justify the actions that resulted in my pain, grief, and losses throughout my life, while apparently ignoring situations I was victimized by, past as well as current, my struggles to overcome what perpetrators and abusers were heaped upon affected my children as well. She goes on to say she was ritually abused from birth. She was brought into the world to become, a sex slave and a mother goddess for the royal family. So this is 2011, and it recaps her life and what she went through. And then I'm going to go down to as it applies to David Icke, because this was the point of this whole piece was your experience with David Icke. And I'm going to include other people who may have had not so good experiences and even pretty brutal experiences as we get into Jeanette Archer. So she writes, I decided in 1999 that I wanted and needed to go back to work because I had done as much work as I could be done to recover memories and to come to terms with what had been done to me. Unfortunately, in 1998, the last time I was kidnapped and worked over, i.e., given huge amounts of electroshock by unknown perpetrators, which resulted in a hospitalization, I did not realize that I was being prepared, i.e., programmed for an interview with David Icke. So this is 6 months before you saw her that week. A former sportscaster turned conspiracy publicist in order to perpetrate the system's media lie and program. That interview took place within 5 months of the last episode, and individuals magically appeared in my life to connect me with David Icke. During this interview, I was instructed not to motion or gesture with my hands by David Icke, as well as the decision was made that I could not wear my glasses, so I was unable to see as well. I was being prepared for this role by as early as 1996 and was programmed to change my name legally to Arizona Wilder, Wilder being Penfield's first name, and Arizona having to do with the follow-up and continued research of Wilder Penfield's work on me by Arizona State University in Tucson. What do you think of that statement?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There's a lot of connections. There's a lot of things popping in for me.
I can imagine. So she was prepped, she feels like 6 months with electrocution prior to that interview, which is a pretty a big expose in my mind.
It reminds me, as you're describing that, before I didn't know about this article, but as I described the video and she was on that bed and I was just saying, she kept, yeah, I felt torture. You know, she was remembering being tortured. It's fun. It's really interesting that you read that there. And she wrote that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, now that we see her explanation, you think of the interview, and she wasn't moving her hand, she wasn't moving. When you think of it through this explanation, it looks a little different. It looks like she's being controlled when you understand it.
Well, from exactly through her lens, when we see it through new lenses, we look at the information and connect the dots. As hard as it might seem for people, but for me, it's clear. I mean, it's clear. If that's true and that's true, then it's like bingo. When she's describing, because that remember you asked me what was her manner, I said exactly that. I was watching her hands, I was watching her eyes, and because that's you would do that, and you know, it's like I'm just she was very
Yeah.
calm. She wasn't wearing her glasses. I didn't say that, but she's right. You know, she wasn't wearing her glasses, and she wasn't moving. Her hands weren't twitching. She was very calm. So if she's saying that she was programmed to do that, well, if that's true, that's exactly what she did.
Yes,
What I
and you
saw.
said that before you even heard this. You said,
Hmm.
yes, it's possible she was in a trance.
Yeah.
So this is something else that Emma Catherine sent me. It's the same writing, but it includes, and Emma put this on her Substack 7/14/25, so last summer. And this is the same one that was written by Arizona Wilder, aka Jennifer Ann Keeley. And I'm showing you this because of the artwork. And I'm going to show you what I believe and what many of us believe is actually Arizona's Facebook page. And you're going to see that same painting that apparently she did. I don't want to open
And
that
she
one.
loves cats, right? Didn't
No,
Arizona,
she's crazy about cats. Yeah.
yeah, there's two cats in that image.
Let's see. I don't want to get to this quite yet. I'm just looking for Jennifer's. That's Jeanette Archer. I was going to show you Jennifer's Facebook page. those are both videos I'm going to just show little clips of. Okay, maybe I don't have it up, but she has a Facebook page under the same name, Jennifer Keeley, which she changed from, from Arizona Wilder. That's Jennifer Archer. I'm not going to show her right now. Okay, so this is really interesting. This is you're going to hear Arizona speaking. This is a video that she did. And this is part of an archive created by Research in Motion. They archived all of her husband, Glenn Keely's work. He was quite a philosopher. And she is speaking in this one. And let's see.
Do you know where on the timeline, darling? Because it's quite long.
I'm only going to show like 5 minutes. Yeah, it's at 1:49.
Okay.
I'm only going to do about 5 minutes of this. But she's going to reveal some more about David Icke, because this is 2.5 hours long, or 3 hours long. Can you hear it?
Nothing yet. We have to figure this one out. Yeah.
Will you be able to, they'll be able to see the
Nothing.
words, but hopefully they can hear her voice.
Oh, it'd be so great if we could hear the voice. It's very important to hear the voice.
Do you hear her?
Now, barely. And it's so tiny. See, if you could be on the side and not have you up there and then just have the video full in front
Oh,
and
you can
center
see
here.
me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can? Where am
Yeah,
I?
you're split screen. You and I are both on the right sidebar, and in the middle where whatever's there's you and the video.
All right. Can you see what it says? He's associated him with MI6. She's talking about David Icke.
Go back just a hair. Let me look at the CC. Oh, yeah. You have to go back a little bit more so because you have to direct people to look at that because it's so tiny, honey. The
Oh,
closed
it is.
captioning is you're gonna have to. I would read it. I would read it out loud so people can follow because they're not going to be able to see those words
And they can't hear it
clearly.
either?
No.
Okay. All right. I turned off the volume. So she's describing gray aliens, and she's going to go into David Icke. And I'm just gonna this is a film that she made. It's archived. And she's talking about she thought that grays were actually underground and they were not aliens, and that was unpopular. And now she's going to go into what she said about David Icke. So they
And this
can't
is a
see it or
conversation
hear.
between Gray. It was a
No, this
conversation
is
between
actually a
let the audience know.
conversation between Arizona Wilder and two people who were involved with her husband, Glenn Keely, and his spiritual teachings. Okay, still, and they're being used by David Icke, and that's what the media wanted. And I would run into these people that talked about all these aliens. And then it never failed. I got posed the question, what do you think? And where do aliens come from? And my answer was very unpopular because for some reason, okay, it's coming so. And you can't see that.
You're right, Eric. Oh, I can see it if I put my magnifying glass up to my computer screen.
Oh, you're kidding. Okay, I just want to
Yeah.
get to the
I mean,
piece.
it's probably,
She says, so I was programmed for that David Icke interview. That's what she's saying. It was like, well, because as soon as I, did those interviews, and within the next few years, I start to question, why did I even say that? Because that wasn't even my experience. I went to David when I talked to him about things that I knew about, which that's not what I knew about. And the things I knew about at that time were the ritual activities that were going on in Orange County, California, and how I had been involved in those rituals. And I got worked up by the person I was staying with. It turned out he was associated with MI6. Oh, this is the story that MI6 and the media wanted out. And David Icke is media. He was a sports broadcaster and he was a member of the Green Party. And he was MI6. So she thinks he was British intelligence asset. So that's what he does. And he's got a lot to answer for. So I'm not going to go on too much. I mean, it's very interesting. She's saying he's got a lot to answer for when his time comes. And for what he did, I don't know what if he's. So I'm gonna people can listen to more of that. There's also another one. I'm going to stop sharing that. That's when she basically says that she was programmed for that because they were planning if she ever came out to talk about David Icke and what she really knew about it. She's saying he was experimenting with drugs in South America. You probably know about that. He's a huge ego, absolute, that man. So, yeah, uh, that was a setup. Everyone worships the guy. There's so many people who in Europe, at least, who believe in that stuff. All right, I'll stop it and paraphrase. She basically said that she was set up for that interview so that she ever tried to come out and say anything against him, she would be discredited because anything she would do in life would go back to the reptilian review and she would be discredited. She thinks he was part of the mainstream media and that he was British intelligence. And so that would sort of tie in to a degree with your saying he was not on the up and up. And this is probably new information that you feel like she was MI6. What what do you think?
well, I have an issue with that because she is programmed and I've been with Ike. I personally can't believe that he was involved in that at all. I just can't believe it. I need more proof.
Okay.
Yeah, I need more proof myself because
So
they could have programmed her. Yeah.
this is the transcript from that. And David Icke is mentioned 9 times, and I don't want to go through the whole thing, the audio. He seemed to
Oh,
know a lot about Blavatsky. That's a woman in Europe who is a spiritualist and an occultist. David Icke. This is when I was busy filling my program, being used by David Icke, and that's what the media wanted. I would run into these people that talked about all the aliens and never feel like I got the question, "What do you think?" Okay, so David Icke, the fourth reference. Same thing, filling in my programming. David Icke, I was so programmed for that David Icke interview, like, hey, well, because as soon as I did that interview, in the next few years, I started to be questioned about everything. So the sixth reference, I went through that. I already went through that when we looked at it. And this is the eighth reference. We already went through that. Nine, this is a complete lie. Oh, so she's saying there's no reptilians. So that is something that people can look up.
Oh, there are.
We went through that. That's the famous, that's like 2.5 hours. And this is her testimony, her written testimony about Icke and her life. So I'm just going to briefly, this is probably the most serious allegation, and it is coming from Jeanette Archer. And Jeanette Archer is highly respected within the survivor community. She was an SRA survivor. This is her testimony on 50 Voices. Just show you a couple clips of her. This is one of her most famous. She was standing in front of Buckingham Palace. She was one of the first to come out and say that the royal family are satanic ritual abusers and child traffickers. So I'm just giving a little bit of background on her just to know where this testimony is coming from. She also ran the first ever Satanic Ritual International Conference in England. She's been interviewed, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 different pretty well-known podcasters. I'll just see if I could see that, but no. So anyway, to get there she is again, Jeanette Archer. This is Jeanette's website, Telegram, public events, all the places she's been. She's also a healer. All the people have interviewed her and some of her appearances. So to get to the point of this, sorry for flipping around here a little bit. We saw that. So I just gave you a little bit of background on Jeanette Archer. So this is a screenshot someone sent me from this particular Facebook page, Anastasia Leigh. And she writes, and this is the worst, and I've already read it to you because I didn't want to shock you on air, Pamela. And it's also underneath, I think, our first interview. And Anastasia says she's also a survivor. You can also look her up on Facebook. In case you're still following David Icke, a survivor testimony, he's secretly a death cult perpetrator. This is what SRA survivor Jeanette Archer wrote just recently. And I think this is a typo. She says 24/12/2024. I'm thinking she means 12/24/2024 on this channel. And I'm assuming she means this Facebook page. And this is the testimony from Jeanette Archer that I just showed you several pictures of. David Icke was in the same cult that I was held captive for 22 years. I witnessed him torture, rape, and sacrifice many babies and children and enjoy every moment of it. When I was around 10 years old, he became my perpetrator too. He was power hungry and always wanted to rape the super soldiers with the abilities as he had power as they had power he never had. He is also reptilian, was very skilled at shape shifting. He used it as his party piece, so to speak. He was elected to play the role of obeying the satanic law, and that was when his training for his public figure life began. He does speak a lot of truth, as that's the main purpose of his role. The satanic law is so they can avoid karmic retribution. What do you think of that, Pamela? Yeah.
Well, I always go for it's like I look at who gains from this. Yeah, who gains from it? And we're dealing with people who are already programmed and have been gone through abuse themselves. I don't know who their handlers are. They could be being told this because their handlers are on attack to David. Um, we're supposed to be trying to find peace on this planet, and I just want truth. And I just can't see David doing that stuff. I just can't. It doesn't feel right to me. I think it sounds like an operation that's in play and an attack on David, in my view. If it's true, I would be absolutely shocked. But if it's true, I've been through enough and I've seen enough that it wouldn't shock me. But I would go
What would be
through
their point of saying this? I think it was
everyone.
5 years ago.
Well, David has people, the upper echelon. They don't want him around. They're letting him linger as long as they want. I mean, they could take him out anytime they want. Why is he still around? I don't know. That's a big question. A lot of people say, "Why are you not taken out?" And well,
Yeah,
all these other people are being taken out because
exactly. Maybe
I
because he's protected by the system, as would be my
or
guess.
or now let's put your what I do is I put my the perspective and the other option is this. What act as if you have to think like your enemy. And if I think they're playing, this is what keeps the public in confusion, right? It's the art of war. Now, this is another angle. If the reason why David's still alive, well, David says, I'm still alive because he's got all these angels around him or something. Those aren't his words, but he's protected. Now, I believe that's possible, but he's not protected so much by, um, uh, well, he's obviously not been hurt. Well, he got arthritis and all, but he's still out in the public arena. And for me, I think that the angle that I would see through my lenses on this is thinking like thine enemy. There has to be a reason why he's still alive. And if I'm the enemy, there's obviously something organized. They're going, yeah, let the public just think about it. Keep the public busy on the farm. We're going to plant some ideas over here because I don't think he did that stuff. But planting these ideas over here through people. And isn't it interesting? This heavy stuff is coming from the people who are in the heavy stuff. They're pawns in a game. And they might not remember. Maybe they're programmed to say that and believe that. The enemy is going on attack to David through the victim.
Well, then that could be applied to you. If you're applying it to Jeanette and also Arizona, how do we know you're not programmed to come out against him if you think they're programmed to come out against them?
Good point, honey. Good point. So, about me, well, I'm not here to hurt him.
Well, I don't think they are either. It just sounds like they're getting the truth out. And like, if you want to ruin someone's reputation, you're not going to tell an SRA victim who's probably going to be dead soon anyway. I think if they wanted to ruin him, they would use somebody big, somebody who's got a voice, But why
Yeah, yeah,
use
good point.
victims?
Yeah, that's a good point. I have no clue. So, because I love them very much. Jeanette, and I've watched her with Aneka Lucas.
Yeah.
And she's a very logical person.
Yeah.
And
And
it's like
intellectual. And she's
I want
very.
to I want to believe that part that she's saying about I would love to go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, she is, she's also a very loving and healing person. She does a lot of spiritual work now on the positive realm. She's just got the reputation where she's not somebody that makes accusations that aren't true, which is why I use her testimony, is because she's very respected. Like Arizona, she's very respected. And I would be surprised if either one of those women were making up a story to destroy him.
Thank you. Yes, I see that angle as well. Um,
Yeah.
I, you know, I suppose I'm just kind of going, it's like if there was any more telling me about, I'm just gonna go, oh my gosh. And I was
Yeah, I
with
know.
somebody like that, and I was with somebody like that. Oh my God. But
Well, it happens to a lot of women. We're with someone for 10 years and we don't really find out who they are till 10 years after we're out of the relationship. There's something about like trauma, and you put it all into one in the back of your head, and no matter what they do, it just goes back there, including other things they may be doing or what they may have done before us. It's not
Mhm,
unusual, Pamela, for people to be with someone for 10 or 15 years and they really don't know them.
mhm,
So that would not be your responsibility that you didn't know what he was doing, because all these people, the high level elites, the presidents, the Hollywood stars, they're going around having normal lives, and behind the scenes they're meeting at Bohemian Grove and whatnot, sacrificing children. So it wouldn't be extraordinary or unbelievable if
mhm.
he was doing that and you didn't know about it. I would
Sure.
totally understand that.
Yeah. I'm open. I'm open. It just sounds off
Yeah.
planet right now.
Yeah, I get
Um,
it. That's a lot. And that's why I read it to you before we came on, because it's pretty shocking. And a lot of people are not going to like that. But it's because it's Jeanette Archer, I included it. And
Mhm.
so this has been about, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. Oh my gosh, it's 4:30. Wow. So it's probably time to,
I would like to share, if you don't mind,
go
um,
ahead.
for the beautiful Jeanette Archer, because when in that interview she did with a Naked Lucas, um, oh my God, this is where I was just going, yes, because she
Yeah.
told of a situation where she was in, and she's trained like as a super soldier, and but she took that training when she was down somewhere, and there were kids and the crazy reptilians or whatever they were, demons. They were having they were eating the kids and all the stuff and whatever, and she couldn't take it anymore. And so what she did was she turned her skills that they trained her with, she turned it on them, because she stopped it, and she goes, there were only two left standing, and he said, let's just go.
I think I
Yeah.
recall that. Anna,
Now that's a
yeah, I
game
think
I
I
can
recall
attend.
that
It's like,
interview. And when, super soldiers and other victims, they turn their powers on their perpetrators, are always like, yeah. But to
oh yeah.
wind it up, there's some pretty serious accusations against David Icke from his former and beautiful wife, Pamela Leigh Richards, which we went into detail in the first interview of sexually exploiting her, and sort of felt like farming her out to other men for his pleasure and not hers. And then we have Jeanette's very serious accusations that he was into satanic ritual abuse, and then Arizona, that he was, MI6, British intelligence, and part of the media. So we can wind it up here, Pamela. Thank you. I behaved myself, I hope, and let you speak. And
You get you get not a 10, you get 100, man. You did
it was a
great.
lot easier. I just get to sit and listen and like go. And I should have brought some popcorn. I could like just sit for the first hour
Exactly.
and relax about things. And
Yeah, you're a good girl.
so I will, put a link to Dorian's in below. And I would absolutely, I did not mean to interrupt you with Bryce, because that would be an amazing. You spent a month with Bryce Taylor, who's very well known. She was a sex slave to a lot of the elite, a lot of the presidents, Bob Hope. And maybe we need to take a break, but in the future we could do a Kathy O'Brien, Bryce Taylor, and you can also do another recap.
No problem.
And thank you so much for your time. And this is definitely the longest interview I've ever done, 4:30. So thank you, and we can talk soon.
Okay, darling. Thank you so much. And thank you to the audience. And I love
Yes,
this
thank you.
community. We're not alone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pamela.
let it be.